Boot and All this week is live from the Tetley Stadium, Dewsbury, home to the Dewsbury Rams, who have a mouth-watering game against the league leaders of National League One, the Widnes Vikings. A Widnes win will keep them top of the table and bang on course for a return to Super League next year. Commentary on the whole game coming up in the company of Barry McDermott, Terry O'Connor, and first, Bill Arthur.
Yes, the Vikings are in town, and guess what? They've brought their drum with them. The Dewsbury Rams supporters, though, looking for big bangs from their side tonight because, of course, they were bitterly disappointed last time out against Batley. Dewsbury have Ian Priest, their valiant fullback, Bryn Powell and Austin Buchanan, the wingers, Francis Maloney and Danny Morn in the centres. Maloney there because Andy Bostock was injured at Batley. Pat Walker switches to stand off. Dean Lawford, the skipper, is in 7. In the forwards, Andy Hobson, Liam Finn, Dominic Maloney, Kevin Crowthers and Martin Robinson, Alex Bretherton, the loose forward. Luke Haig, Rob Kelly, Joe Helm and Jason Southwell on the bench for coach Andy Kelly. For Widnes Vikings, Scott Grix is at fullback. Dean Gaskell continues in one of the wing berths because of Damien Blanch's continuing back injury. Toa Koilove, Mick Nannin, Gavin Dodd, Dennis Moran and Joel Penny complete the backs. In the forwards, Mick Cassidy, Mark Smith, Oliver Wilkes, Lee Duran, Paul Noon and Bob Bezic. And on the bench, Aaron Summers, Jordan James, Ian Webster and Gareth Price. The coaches, Steve McCormack. The referee from Whitehaven in Cumbria is Gareth Hewer, and building quite a reputation for himself, and it'll be the Widnes Vikings who'll get us underway. Scott Grix in the middle of the field. And it's a pretty wet and soggy field. The rain again teeming down here on this summer's evening in Dewsbury, and it's the Rams with the first hit up. And Terry, after what they went through last weekend, you can expect a pretty pumped up Dewsbury side.
Yeah, they're very upset that they lost the local derby against Batley right at the death as well by 2 points. Going in, they were in control at first half. It'll be interesting to see how they turn up to play today. They've got both some very big forwards on the bench, and as well how Widnes handle this weather. They didn't turn up and play very well in front of the Sky cameras at Halifax that cost them the win from the mistakes they come up with. Will they have one eye on the National League final next year?
Well, that's right, the Northern Rail final
next week,
coming up Sunday week in Blackpool. But they've got plenty of time before then, so they should have their heads on for this one, Barry.
I guess the big lessons for Dewsbury were that discipline was a major problem. They got themselves in good field position but gave away cheap penalties, and that's the big lesson from last week.
Well, they can certainly, you can certainly expect this Dewsbury side to be committed early on. They've had a couple of stern talking tos from their coach Andy Kelly in the build-up to this game. He was a disappointed man. Disappointed as well with one particular decision, but that's history now. And they've forced the mistake. They've come up with possession of the Dewsbury Rams. The error from Gavin Dodd, I think it was. And so in goes Andy Hobson, former Widnes player. He'll be relishing this contest. Now Pat Walker, big ask for him, switching to stand-off with Maloney moving to the centres because of the injury to Bostock. A shoulder problem. I understand he's going to need another scan, probably have surgery in the next couple of weeks. Meanwhile, Dominic Maloney takes them closer to that Widnes try line. They started well against Batley. Can they continue it here? Priest, that's good defence that time from Moran, got right underneath Danny Morn there. Buchanan, Lawford puts an angled kick in. Just for a moment it looked as though it was going to sit up nicely for Walker, but well fielded by Penny.
Steve McCormack won't want Widnes to be playing down here. He doesn't want Francis Maloney to get hold of the ball, especially in Widnes' 20, along with Dean Lawford, who with a great kicking game like that, short little, he's a big player, and he's enormous for Dewsbury, even though he's only a small lad.
Gavin Dodd on the ball again. Gavin Dodd probably committed the cardinal sin. Ball in hand, 20 metres away, as Ollie Wilkes makes a fantastic break.
Wilkes has got support. Can he find it? He does with Mark Smith. Smith gets that ball away well to Nannin. Nannin trying to hold them off. Offloads the ball to Noon. Goes back to Gavin Dodd. Widnes appealing for referee Hewer to wipe the tackle count clean. He doesn't. He signals that this is the last tackle coming up. So Mark Smith hoists the kick, or rather just plonks it over the top, really, going nowhere, but safely into the arms of Ian Priest. And Priest, there's not an awful lot of him, but my word, he makes up with it with a big heart.
He was heroic last week in his attack and his defence, Priest, and they were looking from a big game as well. Widnes' kicking game is going to be vital in conditions where every kick has got to be a contest, whether it's on the floor or in the air.
Well, this pitch isn't going to get any easier. It's stopped raining now, but there are one or two areas already where you can see the mud sitting in the field, and that's good defence that time from Lee Duran. Walker, great ball from Walker, and they're keeping it alive. They're chancing their arm here. Here is Pat Walker once more. Oh, great hands to Maloney. Maloney has a man outside. He's got a man inside. It's back with Maloney. What a try! What a superb try from this Dewsbury Rams side. Well, that really was flowing, adventurous rugby league football from this Dewsbury Rams side, and Francis Maloney, the oldest man on the field at 36 years of age, finishing it off.
Coming up and trying to break with some great rugby, just the short passing game between the players there, and the confidence they've got even in this way. The Francis Maloney there on hand with the vision there to pass it back inside, but having the awareness to keep on going and coming up with a great try in the corner there. Again, you see from the head on angle there, they just seem to get on the outside of players, handing them off, holding them off with great strength. Francis Maloney looking the ball in two hands, not committing himself, and again coming up there, and that was a fantastic effort by Francis. Andy Kelly looks very happy there as well, doesn't he?
Delight for the coach and delight for the Dewsbury Rams supporters. Maloney, the try scorer. Big part played by loose forward Alex Bretherton in the build-up to that as well. So Maloney, can he crown that stupendous try with this conversion from out wide? Drifts it across the face of the posts, but the Rams off to a flying start, 4-0, and what a start that was.
It's very important in a match like this that they got off to a good start, and again there's bodies in motion and plenty of people in the frame, and Francis Maloney might be the oldest player on the pitch, but showed fantastic awareness to be in the right place at the right time. That's what experience gives you, Bill.
Well, Patrick Walker as well was instrumental in that move to stand off. Because of Maloney's switch to that centre position and how it's worked out for Andy Kelly. Walker integral in the build-up, Maloney finishing it off.
I spoke to Andy Kelly after the game, and he was really disappointed when Dean Lawford went into the sin bin that nobody put the hand up to take that responsibility role. It's probably not Francis Maloney's bag, if you like. It's not the way that he shows his great strength, but individual stuff like he's just shown there is his strength, and that's what, you know, I think that's what the positional changes has freed Francis up to do.
Lawford's kick straight into the arms of Scott Grix, and Grix will run it back. You have to remember, of course, that try followed an equally good Widnes attack, which broke down, and Dewsbury capitalised on that. So Dewsbury can't think that everything's plain sailing. Oliver Wilkes certainly found gaps in their defence. Now here's Dean Gaskell. Gaskell continuing in the Widnes starting lineup because Damien Blanche can't shake off a back injury. Duran is tackled by Danny Morn. Now here is Wilkes once more. He'll take him on again, and Hobson comes back for another hit at him.
Knowing those two guys as I do, they'll be looking for each other every time one catches the ball and runs at the other.
That one went forward. Touch judge confirming it. Gareth Ewer looked for it. Mark Smith, and the slipperiness of the ball, I think, having something to do with that.
It might not look it, might it, but it is very slippery out there and heavy underfoot. Mark Smith never normally comes up with... No, well, on the cameras there, it doesn't look... Although it looks like it's raining, it doesn't look as though it's slippery like it is.
It's what they call lush, innit, lads? It's deceptive as far as there's long grass, but the grass actually catches the rain and makes it very greasy.
Well, it caught Mark Smith out, that's for sure. Now, here goes Maloney, and Dewsbury Rams certainly responding to the rallying call from their coach with this opening performance here. The question is, can they sustain it? They couldn't do it at Batley. That was their downfall. There's a long way to go here, but they're ahead by virtue of a quite brilliant try. Maloney once more. Dominic, that is. He's not the biggest looking prop, but he certainly punches above his weight, Dominic Maloney. Hobson, who is one of the biggest looking props. And that'll be the turnover. They went for the power play.
Time off. Andy, hand the ball over.
It's interesting that you compare the two props. I often think that you need to contrast your front row. You need a big, powerful 10-15 minute explosive prop and what I call a plodder and what I call a doer. And what he does, he just does the little things over and over again. And Dominic Maloney, by his own standards, will be disappointed with last week. He made a couple of crucial errors and gave away some penalties, but he's going to make up for it this week. I'm confident of that.
So are you plodder or dynamic?
Dynamic, I think you'll find.
Well, that must mean that you were
10 metres, come on, Fran. Go.
As a 19-year-old pro, I've got big raps on in me, and I come up with a big shot there, and that's what he's full of. He give a few penalties away. Judged to be high there, but he is someone who puts everything into the tackle or the run. Just watching through the game.
Well, this was their problem at Batley, and increasingly during the game they went high, and it cost them. And Maloney was one of the culprits there.
But just look at Ollie Wilkes there. He's took one in the chops and put his hand up and take the next one. That's bravery, that.
So here comes Widnes Vikings again. Joel Penny organising things.
Go.
Bezic now straight into the heart of that Dewsbury Rams defence again, and straight into the quagmire that's developing. About 10 metres out. Moran now. Moran to Toa Koilov, who's driven back in the tackle by Danny Morn. Moran now. Joel Penny will stab the kick in. Oh, that's a wicked one. Bezic is chasing, but Ian Priest knows his ground and watches that one run dead.
That's a little bit more like a competitive kick. You need every kick to be a contest, and that was exactly that.
But Dewsbury survived that one. Austin Buchanan bringing the ball back. Liam Finn now. Finn preferred at hooker. Luke Haig demoted to the bench for this Dewsbury side.
Dewsbury at the minute doing very well. They seem to be winning the collision, landed on the front, getting the quick play the balls. Widnes over the last few weeks have been winning everything to be the bigger and stronger side. Done well there to not go in touch.
They've kept that ball alive, but Maloney will eventually knock it on, desperately trying to salvage the situation. Liam Finn heading for the sidelines. Did well there, but again the slipperiness of this surface catching Francis Maloney out that time. And Widnes will get head and feed on their own 40-metre line. Grix, Moran, Toa Koilov. The Dewsbury defence doing well. Moran wasn't tackled, says Gareth Ewer. They keep the ball alive. Grix now will take him on. Just lost his footing. A chance for Danny Morn to make the tackle on the 40-metre line. Cassidy, the Viking supporters getting behind their team.
Look at the width that Widnes seem to be playing with, and the shape that they have, and the players in motion off the ball. That's why Ollie Wilkes come up with that big break before and lead their hand there, looking to offload Dennis Moran. They'll be doing that all night on the right-hand side.
Here is Cassidy once more. He's got Grix on his shoulder. Grix over the top to Bezic. Bezic, Noon outside him, tries to go himself. Dewsbury just managed to bring him down short of the try line. Penny. Oh, he's gone without it. It's gone backwards, says Gareth Ewer. They keep it alive. Nannin, little chip and chase from him. Nannin is floored. Looks for the penalty. Nothing forthcoming. Gareth Ewer takes him back for a 20-metre restart.
Yeah, the Dewsbury player looking to take. It was Andy Hobson, took McNannon out, and would he have got there? I'm not so sure anyway. It might have been better just taking the shoulder barge and carrying on McNannon. So Dewsbury surviving another Widnes attack. Widnes getting to the kick, and nothing coming of it. Martin Robinson, ever present for this Dewsbury side in his debut season. Terrific performance for him. Came to the game late. Kevin Crowthers now. Crowthers, Danny Morn. They're trying to get him into touch, and with this slippery surface, that's not a bad option. You can slither an opposition player across the surface. Dominic Maloney again. Tackled by Mark Smith and Oliver Wilkes. Pat Walker. Walker hoists a kick. In behind Gavin Dodd. Dodd watches that one
bounce out of play, wasn't willing to get involved there.
Always a difficult skill to catch the ball while you're running back. You need your awareness. You're not sure where your own try line is or the touch line. Gavin Dodd probably didn't want much to do with that.
There is 21-year-old Pat Walker
Let's get ourselves in, Kev. Come on.
doing well in this standoff position.
Let's go. Hold, out.
So Widnes trail by 4 points to 0, and Terry mentioned earlier on the last time we saw them that miserable wet night at the Shea when Halifax did a great job on them.
Tackle 2, move.
And they're going to have to roll up their sleeves here.
That's the second or third occasion that Lee Durant has run at the halfback, and that's going to be a big ploy for them tonight.
Mick Cassidy making good ground. Joel Penny. Widnes flowing forward dangerously here. Penny trying to get out of the challenge, eventually brought down. Lawford there. Wilkes. Hobson put the shoulder in. Wilkes bounced away from him.
Every time that'll be, Bill.
That one looked as though it drifted forward to Moran, but he hoists the kick anyway. Doesn't go a long way forward. And Ian Priest came for that one and dropped it. That'll be a knock-on. And
I tell you what, though, the chase wasn't there, and that's what Dennis Moran will be expecting his people to do. If he gets good hang time like that, put pressure on them. There was no one within cooey of him.
he was rock solid last time we saw him, but this is a lot trickier out there. The wind is swirling around, the rain drifting on the air, and that one hanging in the air. Toa Koe Love, simple try for Gaskell. They had the numbers and Gaskell was unopposed out there, and they pay the price for that knock-on by Ian Priest. And Dean Gaskell getting his 7th try of the season, and not many will have been as simple as that.
There's the mistake there by Priest. Never know that comes up with him. Very tough. There's 3 or 4 in front of him. But on the scrum here, Dennis Moran just kicks over. Maybe running behind there, but Toa Koe Love, all the skill in the world, just pulled in Austin Buchanan, sent him in for a try. But just watch Dennis Moran when he runs to the line, gets people interested, throws the ball out. Toa Koe Love, presence of mind to keep Austin Buchanan interested, pops it out to Dean Gaskell there.
Former Wigan and Warrington player with bags of Super League experience, Dean Gaskell. And an Irish international to boot. This is a Scottish international. And you have, in fact, in the coaching situations, there is Steve McCormack, the Scotland coach. His opposite number, Andy Kelly, is the Ireland coach, and they've already been at each other this evening. In fact, in his programme notes, Andy Kelly refers to Rab C. McCormack, which hasn't gone down well, I can tell you, with the Widnes coach.
Probably hasn't gone down very well to Rab C. as well.
Mick Nannin then with this conversion attempt, he's pushed that one wide. He's got great distance on it. It was still going wide when it reached the far side of the field, but it was well wide. It's 4 points each now. Gaskell with the try to level the scores. And poor old Ian Priest. Well, it's a lonely place, that full-back position, when the ball's hanging up there. Nobody else is interested. And the rain swirling around. So here's Jordan James on the field to add his impact. Well, that conversion was being lined up. Obviously, Steve McCormack rang the changes. Aaron Summers is out there as well now. So Widnes maybe are going to up the pace a little bit. Here is Summers. And they're just inside their own half. And they're finding yards pretty easy to come by at the moment. Bezic. Finn with the tackle. Robinson there as well. Summers once more.
If Dewsbury are going to stop a big, powerful Widnes side, they need to get better line speed. It's just dropped just that little bit, and maybe...
Priest is under pressure again, and he's lost that one. And the referee says play on.
That's fair, that. Both feet on the floor when he caught that ball, and a good shoulder chop.
It was James who got there, and Penny will finish it off. Oh, it's a cruel, cruel game. Jordan James with the collision, the ball dislodged, and Joel Penny picks up the pieces and rapid tries from the Widnes Vikings have turned this game around. 10th try of the season for Joel Penny, a season that started with Doncaster.
That was good urgency by Jordan James, the substitution, to come on and put the pressure on Priest like that, knowing that he'd come up with a mistake before. And just there, they just absolutely great footwork there from Joel Penny, beating two men and having the strength to go over there, diving over under the sticks. See how he carries the ball, steps off his left foot again, and steps off his right foot. Can do it all. He looks very happy here when he scores in. And this is what Joel Penny wants to do. He wants to get the ball, he wants to run at plays. That's his big play. Ball in two hands, running at defence and making them come to him while he makes them make their own mind up for them.
Nannin, this one, a formality for him surely. 105 goals this season already, Mick Nannin. A phenomenal scoring record wherever he's been. That's another 2 points for his tally. And Widnes 4-0 down. Two very rapid tries in the space of 3 minutes, and it's 10-4.
The first mistake that the Dewsbury defender made was he was watching the ball, he was watching and getting ready for the pass and looking to shore up that defence on the wide play. And Joel Penny, intelligent footballer, just put it under his arm and a little bit more footwork and in for the try.
Joel Penny will like this ground, as you saw there. He won here when he was a Doncaster player earlier in the season. That was a rare success for the Doncaster side. Now, of course, under the coaching of John Stankovic, and they face a tough game this weekend, the Doncaster at Castleford. So Dewsbury, their bubble has been burst well and truly. They got off to that fantastic start, but they haven't been able to cope with this forward power of the Widnes side, and they've adapted well to the conditions tonight of the Widnes Vikings.
Joe Helm on for Dewsbury. Last week he made a tremendous impact and really lifted the intensity.
Priest this time watches that ball run dead.
Speaking of impact there, Barry, watch now when Aaron Summers is on. In the few minutes that he's been on, he's been running at Martin Robinson and Alex Bretherton, making them defend. Seems to be playing for the left-hand side.
I'll tell you what Aaron Summers does. He just keeps the leg drive going, and you don't automatically see the benefits of that, but it just disturbs the line of defence as Widnes give a penalty away.
Lawford then will ease the pressure on this Dewsbury Rams side.
What can Dewsbury do with some field position now?
Here's Maloney. So Dewsbury just wanted to steady the ship now. Finn, Crowthers. Here is Lawford. Maloney again. Oh, that looked
good
high
shot
on Maloney.
from Jordan James.
That was high.
It was a good spot. He came out of the line and shellacked him.
Lawford. Walker. Maloney again. The try scorer, Francis Maloney. Lawford with a crossfield kick. Buchanan did well with these last week, but Gaskell does even better with that one and then returns it with some interest.
That's the contest I was talking about. I mentioned it last week. Dean Lawford is so accurate with his kicks, and I guess Widnes have read the press and had two players right in that bottom corner pocket.
Summers. Smith, lovely step from Mark Smith, very deceptive. Oh, and then Griggs just suddenly changed direction just as the pass was delivered, and Austin Buchanan was able to pick it up. Helm now.
That's Mark Smith at his best when he gets the ball and he runs at defence that aren't set.
Oh, what a break now. Bryn Powell will take Griggs on, and Griggs with a superb tackle. And Powell even more has lost the ball.
Dreadful shame. Tremendous break from Bryn Powell, and probably tried to take him on the outside when he had support there.
He went for it, and Griggs has a growing reputation. We've got two really good fullbacks out there at the moment. Ian Priest, okay, he's had a bad night so far, but we saw what he can do last week, and certainly Scott Griggs has got his admirers.
And Scott Griggs and Gavin Dodd do a really good job of exchanging roles, and when Scott Griggs feels the need to swap with Gavin Dodd, it's just a good variation that Widnes have got.
That was good defence from Dewsbury that time, and Mark Smith forced a kick from inside his own 40. Here is Bryn Powell again. This time he's not going to get very far because Smith has followed up his own kick well. Jordan James there too. Liam Finn. Bezic went in with the tackle.
Rob Kelly dropping to his knees, looking for the quick play of the ball. If they've learned anything from Batley last week, it was that Batley gained momentum and gained the advantage when they got those quick play of the balls. Dominic
Maloney still going strong out there. His coach, Andy Kelly, ringing the changes, but Maloney's still on the field. Lawford now, Crowthers, Moran with the tackle. He really does tackle above his weight, Dennis Moran. Helm. Walker will put a little chip kick in, but nobody really chased. Oh, Dodd's made a real pig's ear of that. He's knocked it forward anyway. We put the mockers on him as well.
We did. He probably tried to pick it up and start his run as the ball was just in his fingertips, and unlucky, but a crucial error.
And Bryn Powell arriving on the scene could have capitalised on that, and Dodd got a knock when he went down there. I think Powell slid into him.
We said that the kicking game is going to be so important for the teams today. Like the kicks like that in the slippery conditions, putting the pressure on them and forcing the error down in the opposition's 20.
Walker is driven back by Toa Coe-Love. Kevin Crowthers, real season campaigner Crowthers, met by Lee Duran. Liam Finn. Walker, Lawford, the Widnes defence drifting across and doing well to avert the threat that time, and they come down the short side, and it could be in here. It was Bredderton who was just held up. Lawford now. Helm. Coe-Love again with the tackle. Good defence from the Vikings here. Finn. Lawford stabs the kick in, and Griggs will not get out of danger there. Morn and Buchanan, but they were offsides.
A very enthusiastic chase from Dewsbury there, and could have been, guilty of being a footing forward, but the signs are good for me. When Dean Lawford has the ball in hand, it's very dangerous.
Well, only just offside. Well, it was marginal. On the halfway line, the Widnes Vikings. Aaron Summers now. Summers to Joel Penny. Two former Whitehaven men.
Make a 10 front. Go.
And of course, Widnes have Whitehaven to come in that Northern Rail Cup final in Blackpool. And please let the sun be shining by then. It normally does when the Northern Rail Cup final gets to Blackpool.
It's always sunny in Blackpool, isn't it?
Can't believe it's sunny anywhere
at the minute. Both teams looking still very urgent, Andy, pointing up, and defensively, Dewsbury are really tight, trying to slow them down because they seem to be winning the play of the ball at the minute. And Aaron Summers again targeting the ruck area.
Quick, Nannin, that one was over his head. In fact, it's just a little bit enthusiastic, the pass.
It was probably not his ball, Bill, to be fair. He spotted the overlap. Bob Bezic on the outside. Gavin Dodd is on his own with the winger looking at Mick Nannin. You see the gap
but it was
there?
just a bit too low, tempting for Mick Nannin.
It's tempting, isn't it, when that ball's just centimetres over your head, not to pick it out the air and make that play.
Priest. So Coe-Love went in on him there. Helm once more. Helm takes on Gaskell, and Gaskell standing his ground, the little winger. He's a tremendous trainer, Dean Gaskell. Really does put the effort in the gym.
He does a lot of wrestling as well, Bill, and he's very, very strong upper body. But they seem to be targeting the left-hand side here where Dennis Moran stood for the big right-hand side shot. They're getting the ball to Francis Maloney.
Luke Haig off the bench and into action. Lawford will put the kick in. Well, Bryn Powell is chasing that one. Griggs, though, sees that one go out of play. And an accurate kick from Dean Lawford. Good tactics.
maybe just wanting to slow the game down, take stock, take the scrum, set everything good and play the field possession.
Make sure we get foot to
Dean
ball,
Lawford,
fellas. When we're playing it, make
another
sure you play
former
with the
Widnes
foot.
man.
Get a ball in. Hold.
Widnes Vikings will have to just work their way out of trouble here now. Nannin doing the spade work. First time these two have met this season, so Widnes going into the unknown a bit.
Hold.
But they know that Dewsbury, since winning promotion, have really held their own in this National League One. In 6th place in the table, could go 5th, but just holding their own a bit too strongly there. And Jason Southwell is penalised.
That's a good run that from Jordan James. The only way that they could slow him down from playing that ball was giving the penalty away.
So Widnes with Lee Duran, bit of an unsung hero in this Widnes Viking side, ever present this season, gets through a mountain of work. Jordan James dumped to the ground. Coming up to the half-hour mark, and Widnes ahead by 10 points to 4. Joel Penny now, Penny for Paul Noon. Missed out against Rochdale last week when Widnes cruised really to a very comfortable win. Summers selected ahead of Danny Lima tonight. Bezic puts the kick in. Oh, wonderful kick from Bezic. Wonderful finish from Jordan James. And Bezic, whose kicking game has been really instrumental in the Widnes campaign this season, putting it on a plate for the Welsh international Jordan James to claim his 6th try of the season.
Jordan James, they're getting his just rewards for coming up with a strong run that made him give the penalty away. He's been running strongly since he's come on and just picking a hole there. And it was great kick there by Bob Bezic. Very skillful play and good vision by Bob Bezic there to slide the kick in, seeing that Jordan James was chasing and putting the pressure onto Dewsbury. He's given him a big lift since he's come on, Jordan James, and so has Aaron Summers.
Former Royal Marine at one stage in his life, and he's certainly been around the National League scene as well. Super League last season with the Wigan Warriors, and then a Whitehaven player before that, and now doing his coach Steve McCormack proud. McCormack has changed things around really, choosing to start Nick Cassidy in recent weeks and using Jordan James off the bench to great effect. Now Mick Nannin, should be another 2 points in the bag for him. Got 276 points already this season, over 2,000 career points, and a long way to go yet, Mick Nannin. Still only 25 years of age, he'll get bags more points. Thumps that one through, and Widnes getting control of this, 16-4 the scoreline.
What you'll notice here, that Jordan James doesn't really change his line. He knows exactly where the ball is going. Great awareness from Jordan James, but again, pinpoint accurate kick from Bob Bezic.
Just keep getting it back. Yeah, onside. Let's stay onside.
And again, the two prop forwards have been changed. Ollie Wilkes on and Gareth Price.
Tackle one, move. Hold.
So there's no end to it really, is there? It's hard work for the Dewsbury Rams to cope with this
in a
relentless battering ram.
Exactly, that's the word, relentless. Just as two of the forwards or a set of forwards start to drop in intensity, you make a change and you bring on a big powerful unit like that who just batters you again.
Gareth Price last week coming up with two 40-metre breaks, and Steve McCormack preferred him to Danny Lima, who's got lots of Super League experience, but going with Gareth Price today.
Oliver Wilkes plays the ball. Mark Smith ducking under the tackles, and Dewsbury beginning to get lazy. Eventually Luke Haig makes the tackle. Moran will put the kick in, and Priest has time underneath that one, takes it well, dodges Moran's follow-up tackle, but eventually brought down by Bezic.
That'll do.
Austin Buchanan.
That'll do Ian Priest's confidence the world of good. He stood strong, was aware of Dennis Moran and just took the ball and made his yards. Tackled by the second defender.
Tackle three, clear the ruck.
Plenty to talk about in the game at the moment, not least the little matter of salary cap infringements. Boots and all at bskyb.com is the email address if you have any thoughts on that or other subjects. Get online now and email. Well, don't get online now because you should be watching this one, but when there's a moment, get online and send us your views to bootsandall at bskyb.com. Gaskell. And it really has virtually been all Widnes since after about 10 minutes when they suddenly just stepped it up a bit.
Here we are,
got the bit between their teeth, and Dewsbury really haven't had a look in. Bezic to Nanin. Nanin does get the ball away. Oh, and Gavin Dodd just couldn't take it. He could see the try line. And that was a lead off for Dewsbury.
On the 20.
Nanin doing well to get that away.
He's got big strength, Mick Nanin there, hasn't he? Bob Bezic coming up with a good ball to him. But it's been a flowing game. Gareth Hughes having a very good game. I think there's only been 3 penalties that's given away, so it's very flowing even in these conditions.
Let's get heads in, Bob, get in.
You talked about Widnes and it being all Widnes' game. The only time that Dewsbury have had the ball, it's been in positions like this.
And Widnes are going to get it again. What a clanger. What a clanger from the Dewsbury Rams. And Scott Griggs punished them. The pass. And Dewsbury in all sorts of bother there. And Griggs pounced on it. So Scott Griggs gets his 17th try of the season. Can't believe his luck.
You get your rewards though, and your Widnes tried to push him off the ball there, and you get rewards for chasing. Scott Griggs putting the pressure on here, making him, and Dean Gaskell come up with just a simple try. Won't be doing that again. Pat Walker running across there, looking, the ball just slipped out of his hand. He's not gone to pass the ball. Just the slippy conditions. Scott Griggs pouncing on the ball.
Bryn Powell it was, who's running laterally east to west. I think in these conditions it's got to go forward, and a rushed hasty offload or pass and put all kinds of pressure on the other player.
Well, things are going against you. That's the last thing you need. And Andy Kelly looking very disconsolate. He wanted his side to be brilliant tonight. Well, they were brilliant early on, but they've been pretty ordinary since then. And they have conspired towards their own downfall.
As I was saying, sorry Bill, as I was saying before the try was scored, the only ball that they've had has been coming off their own line, and if you're making mistakes like that in the middle of the pitch or towards your opponent's line, it's not going to cost you a try. Unfortunately for Dewsbury, this time it has.
Nanin again trying to land one from out wide and again missing, so the radar not working perfectly for the normally reliable Mick Nanin tonight. But it's working pretty well for the Widnes Vikings now. 20 points to 4 they lead. Poor old Bryn Powell.
Bryn Powell, obviously, yeah. Johnny on the spot there. Scott Griggs just putting all kinds of pressure on him. You wouldn't like to see that from your winger coming off his own line.
Well, Powell, a Welsh international, like that man taking the ball up there, Gareth Price, Swansea's finest. And Widnes rolling forward again. Here is Price once more.
They seem to have had a lot of field position in the last 15 minutes, Widnes, and that's why they seem to be getting on top. And the interchange between the big forwards, working them down the middle of the field, and the kicking game from Mark Smith and Bob Bezic and Dennis Moran has been exceptional tonight.
Priest gets that one at the second attempt, brings it back well, eventually tackled by former Wigan duo Smith and Bezic. Austin Buchanan. Here's Kevin Crowthers now. Spun to the ground by Toa Koilov.
For a big guy, Kevin Crowthers has got great footwork at the line, and when he used to play at Bradford, that was probably one of the biggest players that he had. An amazing strength up top to bounce people off and find the front.
Again, the Dewsbury players just looking to find the front and find the floor as soon as they can, so they can get that momentum. Good ball.
Good ball from Walker. Oh, and Bryn Powell goes without it. Walker to Maloney. Maloney's pass. Powell couldn't take it in. Griggs will return it. He's going to stay in the field of play. Is he? Oh, he does ever so well there. He was heading for the dugout and he got the ball back in field to Mick Nanin.
It's always a gamble, Bill, when you're going towards that sideline. Do you throw it back and hope, or do you just, grit, stand strong and hope you won't go into touch?
Joel Penny is brought to the ground by Patrick Walker. Price is then decked by Dominic Maloney. Bezic straight up the middle. Good tackle from Luke Haig. Mark Smith now. Moran that is behind Toa Love. Gaskell retrieves it, and they've lost ground here. That's good defending from Danny Moore and good harassing from the Dewsbury Rams centre. Grix trying to put the step on him. And there's 3 Dewsbury Rams players there, and they shut him down. That's the 5th tackle. So Penny will hoist another one. But I think Ian Priest will let this one go. No. Confident enough to take that one.
Very confident. My God, you've got to be a good fullback on a night like this.
Bryn Powell just shy of the Dewsbury 40-metre line. Luke Haig now.
Even 16 points down, they're still not afraid to play rugby and chance their arm on that right-hand side there with Francis Maloney, as again they're going down the short side.
Well, they could do with a lift before half-time, because the game drifting away from them. Led 4-0, best try of the game. But Dewsbury Widnes have hit back strongly. Lawford, Priest, met by Dennis Moran. Danny Morn, Lawford, this time it's one for Scott Grix to deal with, and Grix is not going to get interested in that, and he knew that was going to disappear into the undergrowth.
I think he was hoping it was going to disappear. Just talking about Dennis Moran there, you hear players talking about spot defenders. Dennis Moran would be a spot defender purely and simply because he's very dangerous with ball in hand. So what attackers try to do is take petrol out of his tank and attack him, but Dennis can hold his own. If you're running straight at him, Dennis can hold his own, pick you up and dump you on your head.
Here's Gareth Price once more. It is a night for the big guys, the heavy horses, and Gareth Price has lost that ball. He's furious about that. Dewsbury hands in there, he feels. He could have a point.
Just not enough ball security. He's worked really hard, Gareth. Since he come on, worked really hard. Sometimes making 2 hit-ups in a set of 6.
Little chip and chase. Oh, Moran put the shoulder in on Priest. Did Gareth Ewer see that? Does it matter? Because Buchanan is chasing it. He's got the ball back. Now just time in the last minute of this first half, maybe, for the Dewsbury Rams to post some points here. Lawford the ball out wide. They've got numbers. Maloney goes himself. It was the wrong option.
Good shot.
The wrong option. He's into touch.
The correct decision. Maloney was grounded there, and Oliver Wilkes tried to get him in touch, picked him up and rolled him over. Correct decision.
Still an opportunity here. Into the last 30 seconds then of the first half. But Widnes have now had time to marshal their defences. Pat Walker, Dominic Maloney, Toa Love wrapping him up. It's going to have to be a little kick, you feel. Crowthers trying on his own, could be the last chance. The tackle is completed, the hooter will sign any second now, and that's it. McCormack will be pleased with the way his side gained control of this game. They didn't start too well first 15 minutes, and Dewsbury going into a 4-0 lead, but that Widnes Vikings side coming back to lead at half-time by 20 points to 4.
Yes, 20 points to 4 to the Widnes Vikings. Dewsbury a great try early on, but gradually Widnes have worn them down, and they lead by 20 points to 4 at the break. And we'll have all the best moments of this first half when we come back. Well, coming up on Sunday week, we will see the Widnes Vikings again. The 15th of July is the date. Blackpool's the venue for the Northern Rail Cup final. Widnes Vikings against Whitehaven. We'll be with you from 2 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. Right now, in this very grey evening and very damp evening here at Dewsbury, Dewsbury Rams 4, Widnes Vikings 20. That's the half-time score at the Tetley Stadium. And after the match here, boots and all take centre stage. There's a look back at last weekend's fixtures in the Engage Super League when Leslie Vinacolo said goodbye. We also hear from Wigan's Michael Withers on the stat end to his playing career. And Dave Hadfield is off the beaten track in the West Midlands. All that's to come later on. But right now it's half-time here at Dewsbury. Let's go pitchside and review events of that first half in the company of Terry and Bill.
So the Widnes Vikings on course to extend their lead at the top of National League One, having overcome a pretty determined Dewsbury Rams start. The Rams determined to bounce back from their embarrassment last time out when we saw them lose at the death against the Batley Bulldogs, and they certainly started, Terry, as though they were a side fired up by their coach Andy Kelly. He got the response he wanted.
Yeah, they did, especially after last week when they got beat by Batley right on the edge of the game, and it was just a great effort, a good try by Francis Maloney that kicked them off from there. Here you see them there shifting the ball across to Francis Maloney, and they've attacked the right hand side all the time. They're at the right hand side, and with Maloney, they're good interplay between his players and having the vision to keep on going and keep the awareness that he's going to pass the ball back and committing gricks at the end there. The next try here from a scrum, Gaskell coming scoring the easiest try he's going to score. Corey Love there just having the mind to hold the ball up in two hands, get his winger interested. Dean Gaskell scoring again. Joel Penny here beating three people with great footwork, great vision, and just knowing where the try line was. And Bob Bezic, this come from a penalty that Jordan James got with Jordan James just having the vision and the centre direction to follow up Bob Bezic's kick, knowing full well what Bob was going to do. And this was again from the mistake from Bryn Powell, something that he doesn't want to see again. But Scott Griggs having the vision to look at and put the pressure on him to come up with a mistake.
Well, do you think Andy Kelly will be in that dressing room saying, look, Dewsbury, we've conspired to our own downfall. OK, Widnes Vikings forwards have got on top, but you look at those tries and there's 3 errors that have been punished, and there is still the chance that if Dewsbury can get control again of the ball, they could trouble this Widnes defence.
Widnes forced the errors with the desire on the kick chase, and obviously the desire there showing on the Dewsbury's defensive line. So I think Steve McCormick will be very happy with the effort that Widnes is showing. I think Andy Kelly will be a bit upset with the way Dewsbury are playing.
Well, yes, the Dewsbury Rams will certainly be pumped up when they come out for the start of the second half. Maybe if they can get some points back early on. They were threatening towards the end of that first half there, Eddie. Maybe if they can get an early try in the second half, there is still hope for the Rams.
Well, they managed an early try at the start of the match. It was a cracker too for Dewsbury, but Widnes on top here. What does the second half have in store? The whole of the 40 minutes coming up for you live right here. More from the Engage Super League coming up live this weekend. Friday night at 7:30. It's St Helens against Leeds. That top against third in the table. Live on Sky Sports 3 and in high definition on HD2. And then on Saturday on the same channels but at 6 o'clock we're at the Twickenham Stoop where Harlequins entertain our French cousins from Perpignan. That's the Catalan Dragons. Well, here at Dewsbury, it's Dewsbury Rams 4, Widnes Vikings 20. Don't forget those emails for the Boots and All section of the programme after the match here. One topic hot on the list tonight is the salary cap. We have many views from all of you, but there's still room for more. There's the address for your emails to us. Keep them down to about 50 words or less. bootsandall@bskyb.com. As I say, lots of you have emailed already, but we want to hear from you. But right now we want to hear from Terry, Barry and Bill with the second half here.
And the Dewsbury Rams want to hear from their players, see if they can battle their way back here. They trail by 20 points to 4 against the National League One leaders, the Widnes Vikings, who can open up a bit of a gap between themselves and the Castleford Tigers, albeit only for a few days, with a win here. These two renewing acquaintances after a 4-year gap. 2003 the last time they met. That was in the Challenge Cup when Widnes won 48 points to 6. Dewsbury will be hoping that this one doesn't go in that direction. Nanin in possession. Helm comes back for a second attempt, aided by Francis Maloney. Try scorer early on for Dewsbury, but really haven't had a sniff since then. But they did end that first half on a more positive note. But now they're bringing the ball back from deep inside their own half with Austin Buchanan. Buchanan is tackled by Lee Duran. Danny Moore now. And the Widnes Vikings, Terry, I mean, we saw them at Halifax on a dreadful night, much like this, and they didn't adapt to the conditions. They've certainly handled it better tonight, haven't they?
It looks like they've learned a lesson, Bill, by getting beat by a big Halifax pack who just wanted a bit more in the day, but they've been led around the field, and the forwards, I think the interchange of the prop forwards who've been coming on from the bench has given them a massive lift, and it's been giving Mark Smith the chance to run from dummy half.
That's a good kick from Lawford, and Grix, well, that one just goes dead. Had Grix wondering if it had the legs, and they return it to the 20-metre line. Here's Gavin Dodd now.
Surrender! Move! 1, go.
Bezic.
2, clear the ruck.
I say a lot of times, Bill, the kick, the ball that goes dead, it's as good as getting a drop up, because the boys there now, they're in 3 players. Nope, they've got out now.
Koilov. Gaskell comes back in field and does well to get the ball away to Lee Duran. Has Austin Buchanan clinging to his shirt.
Defensive out there until he made me out to be a liar. Normally when they cram in and defend on 2 players, they might skim to just 5 yards. But a great run again by Ollie Wilkes.
Wilkes rampaging through the middle.
Go.
They're only about 15 metres out now. Moran, little step. Gaskell is in for a second. And he used the conditions so well there, because he launched himself at the line from a couple of metres away and just slithered over on his face by the look of things. But Dean Gaskell is taking his chance here. He's got his break because of the injury to Damien Blanche. And he flew in at the corner.
Good play in the third tackle there to get up in the Dewsbury half. Mark Smith looking up there, call off Dennis Moran. A great ball out from Dennis Moran. It's good vision that by Smith and by both Dennis Moran, and as you say, Dean Gaskell there, you know what the conditions like, sliding into the corner.
Well, maybe it wasn't 2 metres, but he certainly flung himself at it.
No, but Dean Gaskell will be looking for a big game in this. Damien Blanche, obviously, they'll be looking for him to be back next week, and it's going to give Steve McCormack a bit of a selection dilemma.
Away you go, Rich.
Mick Nanin, just 2 from 4 for the normally infallible goal kicker extraordinaire. The top point scorer in the history of Widnes, with 304 last year. But hasn't been bang on tonight. And listen, another tricky one from way out wide, this one. But he's got plenty of support from the Vikings travelling army. This one looks a lot more promising. He's back on target. And so too are the Widnes Vikings. They're ahead by 26 points to 4 now. 2 tries for Dean Gaskell.
It was Danny Morn, the Dewsbury centre, that was faced with 2 or 3 attacking possibilities. He took a gamble, he took a punt, and he came up with the wrong decision, and the wrong decision was to go for the player on the inside instead of the outside player.
Got you.
Does that make sense?
Oh, and Dewsbury have gone for the short restart, and they've come up with it. Good work from Priest. Showing imagination there. Joe Helm showing a bit of strength. Luke Haig. Here's Dominic Maloney. Maloney does well to get that ball away to Haig, and Haig just tried to put his foot to the floor there and found himself treading in treacle. Kevin Crowthers now. Crowthers still going. So close there, right underneath the posts. In fact, I think he collided with that post there. Haig, back to Lawford. Pat Walker now. Walker almost lost his footing, ducked under the tackle, thought about getting it away. Rob Kelly. Lawford with a crossfield kick. Austin Buchanan went for that one, but Gaskell was underneath it. Gaskell, though, is going to... Well, I thought he was going to end up in touch. Just managed to get himself to the ground. Gaskell in the side. Damien Blanche out through injury. He's on the sidelines to talk to Ben.
Damien out with a back problem, and Dean Gaskell comes and gets a couple of tries.
Yeah, mate, he's making it tough for me to get back next week. Mate, hopefully, I got kneed in the last tackle of the last game against Cass, so just a knee in the back. Hopefully, if you've selected next week, I'll be right to play.
And speaking to Steve McCormack before the game, obviously a cup final next week, but he wants to win this first.
Yeah, I spoke to him during the week as well, and he's basically said that he'd take 2 points here and a loss next week if that's how it worked out. That's how important this is for us. But yeah, I mean, this game's just as important as the next, so we'll worry about this one first.
They've got to worry about a Dewsbury Rams attack here because Lawford's put the ball back on the inside and Priest bravely in there.
Stay.
Tackle from Wilkes it was. Lawford, Walker, Rob Kelly. Kelly tackled by Noon. Noon appealing for the penalty. Claimed there was crossing there. Back for Helm, and Helm steaming up the middle, and that's good defence from Mark Smith. Mick Cassidy in there as well. Lawford drifts the kick in, and Penny collects that one and brings it back with interest. Still going Penny until Austin Buchanan gets on his back.
Again, the kick from Dean Lawford wasn't quite as accurate as some of the kicks that he's come up with. But again, first on the spot was Joe Penny, who put the pedal to the metal and decided to have a go for a try. I'm not sure he would have got there, though.
But he got his side out of danger. But you're seeing how competitive this Dewsbury side is. They do have 5 bonus points this season, more than anybody else in Leagues 1 and 2, which suggests that while they've been losing games, they have remained competitive to the extent they've picked up those 5 points, which has kept them in the top 6. Without them, they'd be down in relegation trouble. Moran has lost control of that one. It drifted forward.
The previous set of 6 is the second or third time on the trot that Dewsbury have attacked Widnes' line, and I'm not sure they're asking too many questions. The little drop-off that you saw Dean Lawford do is probably the most adventurous player that Dewsbury have come up with. They need to show a little bit more adventure, I feel, a little bit more deception, if you like.
That's one move. Go.
Here is Joe Helm, signed from the York City Knights.
2, move. Hold.
Across comes Paul Noon to make the tackle.
Come on, get your hand out.
Former Harlequin Paul Noon. Maloney.
Tackle 3.
He keeps offering himself. He has been doing that every game that's seen him play here, and running to Mark Smith and Mick Cassidy. He's not going to get a very good welcome there.
Crowders.
That's 4.
Good work from the veteran. Taking the Dewsbury side over the halfway line. Lawford. Short ball. Robinson. Tackle on the Widnes 40-metre line. On the last, Lawford puts the kick in. The bodies were flying. Powell is chasing. Oh, and Maloney lost his footing at the last minute when the try was beckoning, and they'll have to settle for a drop out under the posts.
Bryn Powell it was, looking to make up from his mistake just before half-time, but massive kick pressure on Dean Lawford there. And if Francis Maloney hadn't lost his feet, I think they'd have been in there.
Lovely little layoff by Bryn Powell.
Lost his footwork, Bill, not his feet. That would be wrong on all kinds of different levels.
Oh. Pat Walker got a hand to that, but it went back. Now then, Andy Hobson building up a head of steam. Bezic with the tackle. Gets through so much work, Bob Bezic.
It's a big job for Andy Hobson because I think they were out-muscled me in the first half, the Dewsbury pack. Yardage has been a problem for them.
Well, they've certainly come back strongly here. They conceded that try to Gaskell to go 26-4 down, but since then they've got stuck in again. But have they left it too late? Lawford. Oh, slapped up by Moran. Read it so clearly. They won't catch him. Buchanan is chasing for all he's worth. But Dennis Moran, who's hit a bit of a barren patch, hadn't scored in the last 4 games and had only scored 1 try in the last 7. really did snatch that one up, headband and all. And Andy Kelly cannot believe what he's seeing there. They had the opposition on the ropes, and then they handed it to him on a plate.
Dennis Miranda comes up with them sort of players week after week, and the ball there off Dean. Dennis Miranda seeing that the long play was on, just the pace that he had, there's nobody going to catch him there. He was well aware. People don't give him credit for the strength that he has, and people don't give him credit for the speed that he has as well. Look at him there, pumping his legs. There's only one winner there. Dennis Moran's going to get there, even a little cheeky smile at the end.
He's a talented poacher of tries, Dennis Moran. As many as he sets up, he pinches from nowhere.
Tries like that as well. Tries like that as well as Mick Nannon goes to take the kick.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, tries like that. Sometimes that when you come up with a play like that and you shoot out the line, it leaves you open for shoot out line and the opposition getting in behind the hole that you've left. But on that occasion, Dennis Moran done very well, and as I say, had the pace to go there.
Nannon succeeds at the second attempt. 32-4 now to the Widnes Vikings, and they're racing away with this. And Dennis Moran gets his 21st try of the season for Steve McCormack's side. He was the top try scorer in the country until Paul Wellens overhauled him. As I said, he'd hit a bit of a barren patch.
You couldn't see it there from the other angle. You'd notice that Dean Lawford's eyes were only looking at one thing. They didn't notice Dennis Moran coming in from the corner, and that's where he scores a hell of a lot of tries, Dennis.
Well, that will have really taken a bit of steam out of this Dewsbury side, but then Widnes come up with the error. Clumsiness.
Steve McCormack could be very upset with that error there. But, you know, when people score the tries, you've got to have your head switched on to complete that next set of six and get into the next defensive set. As Jordan there just tries to offload the ball, wasn't really on putting Mark Smith under a lot of pressure there.
Let's go, Dean. Heads in, Andy.
So Dewsbury again have possession in the Widnes half. And here's Pat Walker, Maloney. All wrapped up by Joel Penny. Kelly and Helm have left the field to be replaced by Hobson and Robinson.
Tackle two, move. Wait. Go.
Dewsbury. Well, a bonus point would be welcome. Keep them in the top six. They were hoping to move up a place with a win here tonight, but it doesn't look as though that's going to happen. They would have gone above Halifax, but it's going to take a miracle now.
It's going to be a tough pass to score. The bonus point is really going to get 16 points to get back in the game there, to get that point.
And they won't with handling like that. It's Bryn Powell who's salvaged the ball and having to do it all on his own, Bryn Powell.
Can I just say, I'm absolutely amazed with how you added all them figures up just like that.
That ball has almost fallen.
I've got my shoes off here, I'm going through my fingers, my toes and everything.
That doesn't surprise me though.
I've got an abacus.
How many have you counted?
I've got to 20, that's all I've got to.
Come on, Mick, get the ball.
Didn't know you could do that with webbed feet.
I didn't even know he could see his feet.
Goal line dropout.
Stay on side.
And the conditions catching the Widnes Vikings out. It's still drizzly, still cold, and a strong wind blowing down the field at the backs of the Widnes Vikings now, and they made good use of it that time with that dropout. Hobson.
Second tackle, Mick Cassidy moves.
Felt that one. Mick Cassidy it was. And Cassidy getting an earful from Hobson there after the ball had gone. Don't know if that'll be the end of the matter.
I did mention it before half-time about east-west. There's plenty of north-south in Dewsbury this time. They're going straight and they're running hard.
Now they're going across the field, back inside from Crowthers, but the Widnes Vikings defence read that one. Priest was tackled. Bezic shooting out of the line. It's on the last, they're keeping it alive, but nowhere for Robinson to go.
That there comes from the pressure that Bob Bezic put on the kicker, that he made him pass the ball and he couldn't get the kick away because he shot out the line and went to cut him down.
McNannin using his strength and size to make some yards there for this Widnes side. Gavin Dodd now. As I said, one of the 6 Irish internationals, and the two coaches comparing World Cup notes before this game, because of course come October they'll both be in charge of squads who'll be hoping to qualify for next year's World Cup, both with a chance. McCormack Scotland have Wales to play, while the Irish have a very tough game against Lebanon, and they've got Russia to play as well, so could be an interesting autumn. It's Widnes on the attack. Dodd comes back in field away from 2 high tackles. Penny is brought down. Was that high? No, it wasn't. From Bretherton. Out wide to Nannin, and a stroll in for McNannin. Eventually Dewsbury running out of numbers, and Nannin gets his 17th try of the season. And Dewsbury running out of numbers, and I wonder if they're running out of steam as well. This pitch really is sapping energy levels.
He's come up with some big plays tonight, McNannin. He seems to be getting the ball around, taking the players on, deciding not to pass to his winger there, but taking him on and popping the ball around the corner there to Gavin Dodd, who went back in field there, passes it to Joel Penny here, takes the tackle. And again, they just look up Mark Smith, having the urgency to look up Bob Bezic, coming up with a great cut-out pass to McNannin in the corner. There's no one going to stop McNannin there. He's missed 2 players out, and he's cut the ball straight across the face of 2 Dewsbury defenders.
It's Bryn Powell again who has to make the decision. He had 3 players to choose from. Bob Bezic, with the ball in both hands, could have took any one of the 3 options, chose the outside ball again, and McNannin's never going to drop a ball or fail to score in a position like that.
So a dejected looking Dewsbury Rams side.
There's not much talking going on there, Bill, isn't there? A big thing on body language, and they've got to really up that body language and up the body tempo stuff if they don't want to come away with this Austin Buchanan there.
I think that's body language, isn't it?
I think he's a bit sick.
Sicker still if Nannin lands this one from the touchline. Seem to have got his rangefinder working now. Oh no, it's gone on the bricks again. Push that one wide. But 36-4 now to the Widnes Vikings, the National League One leaders.
Again, just Bob Bezic, ball in 2 hands, made his decision and had 3 players. Probably 3 on 2. I'm being a bit harsh there, but again, the right decision.
They've gone for the short kick-off again. This time it's come up for Widnes.
They need something like that. They need something. They need to get back in the game, and something against the grain, against the norm is going to have to work for them, because slow and steady and controlled hasn't worked for them tonight.
Jordan James now. He's lost that ball. He's not certain about the decision of referee Gareth Ewer, is Jordan James. Liam Finn had a hand in there, but it's up to Jordan James really to keep hold of it.
It is. Maybe he's got a case, but he needs ball security, and this could be the break that Dewsbury are looking for.
Shot off Dennis Moran.
Dennis Moran again.
First tackle move!
That's what he does. He rushes out the line and takes the gamble. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Jason Southwell, he's another big guy for the Dewsbury Rams. Lawford. Hobson now. Still going Andy Hobson, just crawls another couple of metres there. Kevin Crowthers.
Tackle 4, Bob Bezic, release. Go.
Lawford. Finn. Liam Finn is tackled by Mick Cassidy.
Wait, go.
Lawford hoists the kick. Gaskell underneath it. Buchanan pats it forward, in fact, and it's picked up
Being knocked down by Austin Buchanan.
by Gaskell, but the referee will say
Wait.
it's the turnover. Buchanan trying to pat that one back, just went forward.
The point that Tez was making, Bill, about body language is probably the energy battle. Because Widnes have rolled those big guys and got good momentum and good yardage, I think Widnes will win the energy battle. It's whether Dewsbury can stay within touching distance, and it's getting increasingly harder for them.
And with the big set forwards on both sides, it's very tough in these conditions to get back, and people underestimate it really, how heavy it is and how hard it is on your legs to get back that 10 yards.
Well, Widnes on course for another win. Just the one defeat in National League One this season. That was that blip at Halifax.
That's one. Move.
And Dewsbury, just the 3 wins and only one at home this season. In fact, that was against Lee.
2. Surrender.
Oh, and Mick Cassidy has picked up a nasty bang there.
Go.
There's his modelling career out the window.
I think that went a long time ago, didn't it?
Tackle 3.
What are you trying to say?
10 metres, Joe Penny.
You tell him, Bill.
Go.
Walker. Finn.
Tackle 4. Here we are, Aaron. Work the 10.
Beg your pardon, it was Martin Robinson who was tackled. There is Liam Finn now. Hobson. Hobson's still going. Aaron Summers across to complete the tackle. Again, Lee Duran,
We go.
who must, I think, be well up on the Widnes Vikings tackle count. Grix waits for that one to arrive, then puts a bit of footwork on to get out of some trouble, runs into a bit more.
Hold 17, hold.
So the change in the Widnes preparation for this game has obviously done the trick. Coach Steve McCormack departing from normal routines in his pre-match build-up and allowing conditioner Andy Haig to treat them to lunch after training yesterday. This is the conditioner we're talking about. And what did he go for? Cheesy chips.
But have you seen the condition?
I'll tell you, I bet Iggy didn't pay for it, I know that.
He did apparently. This is why it was a departure from normal proceedings.
I'm not having it.
Knock on meanwhile.
Wouldn't give the door a bang, Iggy.
Bezic feeling hard, but he did. He was struggling to keep grip of that. Lost possession. So Bretherton for the Dewsbury Rams, just trying to salvage a bit of pride here.
He's played well, Bretherton. He's done a lot of defending. Aaron Summers keeps on picking him out when he's on the field, and he has played very well. All the Dewsbury players, it's not for lack of effort that they're losing the game.
Well, those errors in the first half certainly proved costly. They'd started well. They could finish well here. Lawford, still going.
Try.
Lawford managing to keep possession. It looked as though he'd lost control. The tackle was completed. But the little scrum half just poked his head through the gap, and Andy Kelly, well, that's too little too late for his Dewsbury side.
It's something they can work on, build a mistake here by Bob Bezic.
Are they an issue?
But as well, the try that was scored, look at the players in motion around the ball. When he gets the ball in his run, he's got five people to choose from there. Dean Lawford just taking the ball to the line, 2 hands, diving over.
Defensively, Dewsbury have got to nominate. They've all got to pick a player and go for them. But when there's body in motion and bodies moving every which way, it's difficult to make that decision and then readjust to the guy that eventually gets the ball. That kind of adventurous play is something that I think Dewsbury have been probably looking for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Well, Liam Finn has taken over the goal-kicking duties, looking to sweep this one in, which he has done. No slouch himself. That's his 14th successful conversion of the season. 36-10. Lawford, a former Widnes player, with the try, his 4th of the season.
Just as Bob Bezic did before, the ball in 2 hands, lots of different options, lots of different obstacles in front of Widnes, and Dean Lawford, a big powerful scrum half, just gets his considerable weight over the line.
Widnes will be annoyed that they allowed him to slip then. They could have bottled him up.
They'll be very upset because they had the defenders there to nullify that tackle. But again, Dewsbury, every time they score a try, it gives them a big lift. And look at the yards that they're making.
Knock on.
But that was a knock-on, Tez. That's unfortunate. That the hurry to play the ball has obviously forced that around. That's a shame because they wanted to play the ball in Widnes' half. Just tried to slam it down, and the greasy conditions making the ball a little bit.
Let's get
When they knocked on, I think it went backwards there.
He didn't play it with his foot though, did he?
I think he gave it for a knock on though, didn't he?
Move!
Well, Widnes have possession. It's with Joel Penny. Paul Noon now.
Second tackle movement. Go.
I think the drum has got a bit wet because it's sounding very flat, the Widnes drum.
Go.
Summers now. Very direct play, Aaron Summers.
Very direct but good leg drive, and that's what he makes people do. Get in the wrestle.
Noon puts a little kick in, well dealt with. There's Martin Robinson again. Bryn Powell now. Powell losing his footing. Moran eventually stops his progress.
Not a noted kicker, Noon, but put it on the end of his foot, taking the field position. Not a bad place to give the ball away, though.
Go.
Down the short side, but
Hands out.
not much progress from Kevin Crowthers.
Go.
Jason Southwell, a former Huddersfield Giants Academy player and a Great Britain student international. And that's not a particularly strong kick from this Dewsbury side.
Great Britain students, Bill, taking on the Australian tourist side students again. I just want to wish Paul Fletcher and the lads for Great Britain good luck against the Aussies.
That'll be a good game. They've lost that ball. And a knock-on from Scott Griggs. And that's good commitment from this Dewsbury side, from Pat Walker. Because the cause is lost, really. But they're not going to give up.
They're still working in the tackle. They're still trying to turn the players on the back there.
Andy Hobson, it was.
Andy Hobson's fingers just on the ball. Bit unfortunate, but they got away with it.
Walker. She cannons off one tackler, and they're offside, a Widnes.
Got to stay in the scrum.
So Lawford quickly thumps that penalty. That's a good kick into the corner. Great kick.
That's 3 metres just in front of the Widnes try line.
Now then, can they capitalise on that? Have Widnes maybe just taken their foot off the gas a bit?
Hold.
Well, Dewsbury will certainly try and punish them. Southwell will have a go himself. He's a big, strong lad, is the 20-year-old prop.
To your feet, Andy. Go.
Luke Haig. Walker has to stoop to pick that one up.
3. Aaron Summers, clear the ruck.
Tackled by Summers. Haig. Here is Southwell again, taking him on.
That's 4. Move.
3 tackles gone.
Stay on. Go.
Slow at the play the ball. That's not a good pass. Lawford does well, puts the kick in. And Moran, good hands from Dennis Moran in these conditions, but the knock-on from Lawford it was.
Oh dear, I think he said then.
Let's stay in the
Upset
ball
there,
out.
isn't he?
Heads in. Get him, Liam.
I was convinced he'd get a boot to that.
Yeah.
Well, Widnes get head and feet.
How can Dewsbury defend this Widnes team now in the 20? Can they keep him there to give him a bit of a chance? And Ian Priest a chance of catching the ball in his own half on the 40-metre line straight into attack rugby.
Well, they really are showing plenty of commitment.
Wait. Go.
12 minutes to go. 26 points adrift. But there's plenty of commitment from this Dewsbury Rams side, and Lawford epitomising that. Summers, they all want a bit of him.
That's 4. Movement. Danny, hold the line. Go.
So Mark Smith puts the kick in. He's gone for a 40-20, but he'll be lucky to get much run on this pitch. Very soggy.
First tackle, move. Hold.
Austin Buchanan brings that ball back for the Dewsbury Rams.
Those are good yards coming away from your own line, and that's what Dewsbury need to do a little bit better. I think if Andy Kelly would have said anything, it's just get away from our own line as quick as you can.
Well, Boots and All follows, and plenty to talk about on the rugby league scene at the moment, and your views welcome at bootsandall@bskyb.com. Send us your emails to that address, bootsandall@bskyb.com. Eddie is at the computer as we speak, trying to work out how to operate it.
Wait, Aaron. It's good. Go.
Finn puts the kick in. Gaskell ambles across. A good night's work for Dean Gaskell. 2 tries.
I was talking about that energy battle, Bill. Look at the Widnes forwards. They're all moving, they're all jogging, all tapping away, trying to get behind the ball and offer themselves as quick as they can. That's what Dewsbury need to do. Maybe a set or two ago, we saw the Dewsbury forwards walking back. We can't have that.
Widnes have played the game in good field position. That's why the Widnes forwards are probably a bit more energetic than the Dewsbury, because Dewsbury have been defending line. It takes a lot out of you, the wrestling the tackle.
Well, Dewsbury have used all their substitutes. Widnes just a couple left, so 10 minutes to go. Andy Kelly has played all his cards. Meanwhile, the emails apparently are flowing in. As I said, there's plenty to talk about, not least the salary cap situation, which has blown up this week, and a flood of those. And your views are welcome, and Eddie and his guests will be talking about that on Boots and All to come. Barry and Robbie Paul joining Eddie in the studio. Meanwhile, Widnes have possession back. The mistake by Dewsbury on their own line. They could be punished here. Priest with the tackle on Ian Webster. Here's Joel Penny now. Penny back on the inside. Mark Smith is tackled. Good work from Luke Haig that time. But still Widnes are threatening. Paul Noon keeps it alive. Penny. Toakoi Love plays that ball, I beg your pardon, it was Lee Duran. Dennis Moran. Here is Toakoi Love. And there is another try for the Widnes Vikings after consultation with his officials from Gareth Ewer. And Toakoi Love was on the end of that, not at the start of it, to finish off with his 12th try of the season.
Been a very good acquisition, Toakoi Love for Widnes. And then Dennis Moran again coming out with the big play, the big effort there to get hold of the ball. As well, the Widnes players there taking the ball across the Dewsbury defence, making them pull over and pulling the big lads. And Dennis Moran just again, it's so important to take the ball to the line and run it with two hands on the ball. And Toakoi Love just coming up with a great step there as he steps here for his right foot and just dives over. It's too strong and too powerful from close range.
Again, the difference between the two sides is field position. They've made the most of it, Widnes. Dewsbury, I think, haven't. The offloads and the second phase rugby has caused Dewsbury trouble, and that scatter defence has happened more often than not when they've been defending the line.
And what's been tough for them, Barry, is when they're defending the line, they're not coming up because they're getting Widnes getting quick play the balls. It's not giving Dewsbury the time to come up forward, and they're just sliding on the line. It
was Lee Duran that time who played the ball really quick, and just that, again, that broken defence is hard to cope.
And Nannin could rub salt into the wounds if he can land this from the sidelines. Looks promising, but not good enough. And a shake of the head from Mick Nannin. He'll be disappointed, not had the best night with the boots, but it's looking good for Steve McCormack's side. 40 points to 10. And Andy Kelly will be a bitterly disappointed man. Back-to-back defeats, and Toakoi Love, 12th try of the season. 4 of his tries came against the London Scholars, and as you can see there, back in 1999 he was joint top scorer in Super League with Matt Daylight of the Gateshead Thunder. Those were the days. The Thunder Army is still around. Gareth Price.
Was that an Irish accent then or what?
No, man. Here is Aaron Summers.
Good shot.
And now Dewsbury have used all the substitutions. Widnes have the luxury of bringing on Gareth Price, who's someone you don't really want to see coming out in the last 7 minutes of the game.
Here's Paul Noon. Noon just flings that one back in hope, really. Just possibly saw Mark Smith out of the corner of his eye. It's back to 6. There was a Dewsbury hand in there, says Gareth Ewer. Joel Penny now. Dennis Moran. Moran back on the inside. Webster is brought down. A Widnes going to hit 50. Gareth Price. Tackle just a couple of metres away. Plenty of tackles in the bag. Going for strength. Well,
it's a try.
Webster has got that ball down right on the line. Just turned in the tackle. And a simple try from Ian Webster, and the really floodgates have opened now.
Been a good acquisition, Webster. A good offload here by Noon.
Oh. Was there a hand in there from Dewsbury?
They went back in and still resorted and they tried, didn't they? But Bob Beziker just running out there, and Webster crashing into big Maloney, but still having the presence of mind to turn and use his strength to get over the line under the sticks.
He's actually sat on his backside, Webster, here, but the ball hasn't touched the floor, neither have his elbows, and just plunks that ball down on the line. On the line is a try.
McNannin back on target surely with this one. Yes, former St Helens Academy Player of the Year is Ian Webster, as Nannin thumps that one to add 2 more points, and Widnes ahead by 46 points to 10, but not without problems off the field tonight. There's the try scorer, Ian Webster. Let's go down to the sidelines and join Ben.
It's Mick Cassidy that's the problem, Bill. He's just gone off the field for some stitches and a head injury. We saw Dennis Moran with a similar injury earlier in this game. That was a minor problem. This is a little bit more serious for Mick Cassidy ahead of next week's Cup final.
And knowing Mick Cassidy, he'll be back for that. Won't want to miss a Cup final as that ball ricochets kindly, and Moran is away, but the referee will bring him back for a knock-on, and Dewsbury will get head and feet at the scrum.
They're still trying everything, and they're still trying to get the ball back there. The pressure there of Austin Buchanan to put pressure to force the error, really. Dennis Moran still in the presence of mind to come and show a bit of magic, but that's what Dewsbury have got here now in the last 4 minutes.
Walker looked forward. It was forward.
We've both been in this position, haven't we, Tez? We're behind on the scoreboard, and it's just a case of pride. And pride takes over. You think, I don't want to let the people that are watching down, and I don't want to let my teammates down, doesn't it?
Well, they're on, as I said before, Barry, they're still coming to players, and they're still showing the urgency, but it's just the players and the one-on-one tackles that's letting them down, really, and just probably a bit of skill factor from Widnes. But all credit to Dewsbury, though, they're still trying everything.
Nannin now. Well, Dewsbury coach Andy Kelly will be looking forward to getting Josh Whedon back. He's got several players out injured, of course. Bostock, the most recent to join them with that shoulder injury, but Kane Party, Richard Chapman also out, but Whedon apparently on his way back.
Leg drive again, leg drive. It's so important because that line can't set. And offload again.
And again, picking out Martin Robinson.
And it's like getting an extra tackle on your 6.
Here is Mark Smith, who's driven his side forward. Griggs, Toa Koe-Love gets it back in field wonderfully well. Gaskill looking for a hat-trick. Has he got it? He has, says Gareth Ewer. And Gaskill says thank you to Toa Koe-Love for his footwork and for the ball. And Damien Blanche has got a bit of work to do to get back into this side for the Northern Rail Cup final.
And Mark Smith here running out from dummy after seeing that they sat on the haunches. Comes up with a flick pass out the back here for Toa Koe-Love. For Toa Koe-Love here to tear the man out with a little flip back inside. Dean Gaskell, good little step at the end there to dive over in the corner. Get Mark Smith here from different angles showing him. It's great in this weather. Someone pulled this to come up, slip the ball out there to Griggs. Toa Koe-Love, knowing that Dean Gaskell's inside him, followed him over, and there he goes, scores the try. Easy try for Dean Gaskell in the corner.
Great finish. He's shown good Predators instincts out there tonight to claim his tries. And McNannin presented with another difficult kick. 5 from 9 so far for the Vikings booter. We'd like to get back on target with this one. He's missed that one as well. He really is frustrated. Probably the only Widnes player who'll go away from this feeling frustrated. Everybody pretty happy, apart from Gavin Dodd, who's the only three-quarter who hasn't scored, and McNannin.
McNannin normally very, very reliable with the boot, but you look at the conditions, and McNannin will just be pleased that Widnes have come to a very difficult ground and come away with the points. It's not always about the personal glory. Sometimes it is, but a job well done for Widnes.
Yes, they'll extend their advantage at the top of National League One. Still only one defeat for them this campaign. And on course for contesting the grand final. Of course, a long way to go and many a slip. But not too many here tonight, and maybe some people were anticipating some given the conditions, but the slips really have come from the Dewsbury Rams, and they have been punished. And Dewsbury, they'll stay in 6th place in the table as the hooter sounds. Bob Bezic celebrates, and Steve McCormack quietly satisfied with another good night's work from his side. The Widnes Vikings supporters certainly satisfied to see Mark Smith and his men go to another victory. And the Dewsbury Rams, well, they made it hard for them, Andy Kelly's side did early doors, but once Widnes Vikings found their feet, there was really no way back. Maybe at the end of the first half when they had an opportunity and they could have got points on the board, but after that it was really all Widnes Vikings, and Mick Cassidy showing that it hasn't been plain sailing. Blood on the head, a few stitches as well, but the points are in the bag, and no doubt their coach very happy with that.
Steve, comfortable in the end. Dewsbury made it hard early on though.
Yeah, I don't think it was comfortable. I think the scoreline probably didn't reflect the effort Dewsbury put into the game. But overall, I think really pleased to come here. It's a tough place to come this, so certainly the result at the end was really pleasing.
And we've already seen you lose at Halifax on Sky Sports in similar conditions. It looked early on that might be the case again. You've come out against that and a comprehensive win in the end.
Yeah, it was. We were disappointed at Halifax, but Halifax played really well and mastered the conditions better than we did. And certainly the start of the game, it looked like Dewsbury were going to do that. But all credit to the lads there. They were really professional. They went forward well. But our kicking game in the first half certainly laid a platform, and well-deserved win in the end.
And going into the Northern Rail Cup final, top of the league, looking forward to next weekend?
I am now. I wasn't before this game. Sometimes it's difficult not to get carried away with getting to a final, but we had to come here and put a decent performance, and we've done that. Now we can look forward to next week.
Thanks very much, Steve. It's Dean Gaskell. Also happy after that victory, and 3 tries for yourself, Dean.
Yeah, it's just all Dennis and Tour that, and Sheen on our side. They give me the ball and I score tries. That's it. If they don't give it, they don't score. Simple as that. So it's all on Tour and Dennis.
And competition for places as well. Damien on the bench today.
Yeah, exactly. Blanche's on the bench for a bad back. So he's one of the best wingers at league as well. So he's going to get it south one way or another.
But that sort of competition for places is one of the reasons why Widnes doing so well in National League One.
Well, that's it. If somebody gets injured, somebody comes in just as good as the player who's got injured. So it's really good for positions and competition for places. It's really good. So
well done, Dean. Thanks so much for talking to us.
So Dean Gaskell's hat-trick, the feature of this big win for Widnes. There's no bonus point for the Dewsbury Rams tonight. Dewsbury 10, the Widnes Vikings 50. A great victory for Widnes. They march on then at the top of the National League One table, which we will confirm right now. There they are, up there. They are 4 points clear of the Castleford Tigers now, who are 5 points ahead of Whitehaven, and Lee Centurions come in next with 19. Halifax, Dewsbury stay in the top 6, but only just. So there you are, you're right up to date with the National League scene from now until the end of the show. It's Boots and All Matters. Barry and Robbie Paul will be joining me here in the studio. We want your views as always. There's the email address. It's the usual one, and just one request: keep your messages down to 50 words or less if you can. Among the topics coming up for debate, the alleged breaches of the salary cap by some Super League clubs that have been announced within the last half hour. And Dave Hadfield goes off the beaten track once again. This week he's in the West Midlands, and you can find out what he got up to when we return. It's Boots and All now till the end of the programme. The salary cap issues just won't go away. Clubs have been named tonight by the Rugby Football League with cases to answer. We talked to Michael Withers, who's called time on his glittering career. He won just about everything there is to win with the Bulls. And Dave Hadfield's been out and about again, this time off the beaten rugby league track in the West Midlands. And so Widnes stay top of the National League One promotion race. A reminder that it ended here. Dewsbury 10 points, Widnes 50. From now till the end of the programme, it is Boots and All Matters. Barry has made his way from the commentary box to join me here in the studio, and we also have Huddersfield star Robbie Paul for company. Well, the big news tonight is the naming of 3 clubs by the Rugby Football League who they say have cases to answer regarding alleged breaches of the salary cap last year. The 3 are Champions St Helens, the Bradford Bulls and the Wigan Warriors. No doubt many of you have a view about this. If you have and would like to share it with the rugby league world, drop us an email to our usual address, and there it is. 50 words or less would be absolutely perfect. So, 3 big clubs have breached last year's salary cap, according to the authorities. The Rugby League tonight issued a statement, indeed in the last half hour, and this is what they have to say. The 3 engaged Super League clubs have been charged with breaching the salary cap during the 2006 season. The clubs are Bradford Bulls, St Helens and Wigan Warriors. All 3 clubs will now appear before an independent tribunal. The hearing for Bradford Bulls and St Helens will be held on the evening of Thursday, July the 12th, that's a week tonight, and Wigan Warriors on Monday, the 16th of July. Well, needless to say, that has concerned a lot of you, because we've had hundreds, literally hundreds of emails about this as the game here at Dewsbury has been unfolding. And the first one is from a man called Ian Buchan. He says, if Wigan have been called yet again to answer questions in relation to the salary cap breaches, isn't it about time the Rugby Football League takes serious action? This is of far greater importance than Ganson Gate, as the club involved has gone on a mid-season recruitment of players in order to avoid relegation. In effect, they have deliberately cheated. And believe me, that has been the subject of several of the emails, in fact many of the emails, the majority of the emails that we've had here tonight. It's a very delicate subject, of course, because we cannot judge exactly by how much the clubs have overstepped the mark. But Robbie, this is a difficult time for these 3 clubs now, and it all depends, I think, just how big the breach is and what the Rugby League has up their sleeves as far as punishments are concerned.
Oh, definitely, and it's it's been a talking point for a couple of seasons now. The main people that I feel sorry for are the players that will be punished if there is punishment to be handed out. In the fact of if points will be taken off the team, because these players are going out there week in, week out, putting their bodies on the line, and they get to a certain point in the season just for the mismanagement of their club. So my heart really goes out to the players.
It's a difficult time, Barry, but there is one here from Mr. Riggins of Allerton Bywater. He says, if a certain team famous for pies are found to have broken the salary cap, will their chairman offer justice to Castleford, just as the way he is asking for within football? I mean, this is a subject now that is going to run and run. The league have named the 3 clubs. It seems, well, that Wigan are the team that everyone is furious about, although Bradford and St Helens, I think I'm right in saying, they have both in the past also been caught to have breached the salary cap. So it's not just Wigan, we have to make that point.
Exactly. I mean, we make these rules and it's important that we stick to them, and the salary cap is in place because we want to share the pool of players that we've got, and if certain teams are paying players and a bigger bunch of international classed players than any other side, then it becomes unfair, and just retribution has to be given.
Mr. Paul Cox of Truro in Cornwall says, if the teams that have been in violation of the salary cap have had previous fines or points deductions, it only seems fair to deduct the maximum points allowed and fine them heavily. If this is not done, he says, other clubs may think that it's worth the risk and ignore the salary cap as well. For the good of the game, and to be fair to the teams that work within the rules, the RFL have to make the punishment fit the crime. The punishments are, Robbie, I think, if it's what they would term as a minor breach, it would be a fine. If it's of a certain amount, it's a 4-point deduction. That's the minimum. The maximum is 12 points. Now, a lot of these emails that we're having in here tonight are saying that the club should be docked the maximum points. If that's the case, Wigan, if they lose 12 points, Wigan would suddenly come, well, they'd be 5 points behind Salford. They would be threatened with relegation again.
And, that's speculation as to why they picked up so many players in the middle of the season last year. They've used the docking system down under, and it's been very effective. Clubs have really got up to speed in making sure that they pay their players the right wages. It's all about a level playing field, isn't it? It's about making sure that every club has the opportunity to recruit, as Barry just said, the right players, so we can have a level competition. So what we don't have traditionally, and it's a bit funny for me to be saying this because I played with one of the strongest clubs for the majority of my Super League career. It's the fact that we don't have a competition where we have 3 teams, 4 teams have a stranglehold on the competition where we can year in year out anyone can win the competition, and that's what it's all about. And I think minor breach, what does that mean? And fining the club, I don't think that's really the right thing to do, because they're obviously showing that they have the money there. So if they're willing to pay these players above board, then paying a fine isn't going to be a problem to them. Docking them points, that's going to be the biggest punishment.
Well, it is, and I think some of the fines last year were held over for, I think it was 2 years, so there's money that is still owing from last year.
There's a good point as well, Eddie. The salary cap was also put in place for the clubs in Super League not to promise money to players and to whoever that they hadn't got. Again, if you're talking about fining teams, it's obviously putting their existence in danger. Some would argue that maybe they deserve that. Does it make a difference whether they're £1 over or £100,000 over?
Well, yes, it does. I mean, £1 over is
morally
nothing.
within what we're trying to get over to the Super League clubs. That's how much you can pay, no more and no less.
The problem is that in Australia, the game has been seen to be severe with its punishment. Remember, a couple of years ago, they stripped Canterbury Bulldogs of every point that they had won because they had breached the salary cap. Of course, they got no relegation in Australia. And relegation comes into the mix, doesn't it, all the time. And Castleford fans tonight will be furious. And you can understand why.
Oh, definitely. I've got to agree there. The fact that I don't think we would have as big an issue with it if we didn't have the relegation. Maybe over the next couple of years, we'll basically get to see that come into play.
One here from a proud Wigan supporter rushing to the defence of the Wigan Warriors in the last couple of minutes. Brett has said regarding the salary cap that the clubs that have overspent should receive a punishment, but on last year's points deduction ranges and not the new system that has seen the points double from 2 to 4, 4 to 8 and 6 to 12. I think the new deduction system should only be implemented on any overspending this year. But to be fair, the clubs all got together this time last year when there were breaches in the salary cap and said in future, i.e. 2006 onwards, the punishment would be doubled and would go to a maximum of 12 points. So they all knew. Yeah. They all knew what the punishment was if they were found to be in breach.
Again, at the point of repeating myself, it's unfair to have a set amount of international world-class players at one club just because you can afford to pay them a bigger wage. We need to spread, and we've got this year a fantastic competition. The level playing field and teams beating each other on a weekly basis is a joy to watch, and it's not going to happen if the bigger clubs have got all the money.
That's true, and we have striven for a level playing field, and this salary cap was brought in to protect the clubs from themselves.
Correct.
Wasn't it? To protect them from overspending consistently and persistently on players. In the 80s we had Wigan running away with everything. It wasn't a competition really. Since Super League's come in the last 10, 11 years, it has been absolutely sensational, and year on year the competition has got closer. The problem is, I think, that Salford, for instance, spent something like 1.1 million. Wigan, St Helens, Bradford, Leeds, the big clubs, can spend 1.6. And there will never be a level playing field while there is such a discrepancy, surely.
Well, it's a big question here. Are we to be severe in this 1 year to prove a point for the future years to come? Do we make the point right here and now? Does the league make the point? Let's punish these clubs severely like they did down under. So for the next 5 to 10 years after that, they'll know exactly what's going to happen. And then with the thought of being, we'll get that level playing field.
As of next year, of course, the salary cap will go live. So it'll be like a bank statement. Every month, the clubs will all be checked live by whoever the accountants are. And they say, right, they're overspending. And immediately, there can be sanctions imposed. But that's not the case right now. And as I say, a team has lost its Super League status last year, Castleford. And
I agree, I do 100%. And the minute one person or a set of people become accountable, you know, I'll tell you, then they'll adhere to the rules. But for now, we've got to think about what's good for the competition this year. And teams and clubs have got to be penalised, because we've got to stick within the rules. It's just at what severity do we penalise them?
And I think it's also worth reminding everyone who's watching out there, and indeed reminding ourselves here in the studio, that these 3 clubs tonight have simply been named by the Rugby Football League. The Rugby Football League says that they have breached the salary cap. There is a hearing now for all 3 clubs over the next week or 10 days or so. So we're not trying here to be judge and jury on what's gone on, but it appears, from what the Rugby Football League is saying, that there have been breaches of the cap. And the Bradford Bulls actually have been quick to come out with a statement commenting on the response to the league's announcement tonight that a number of Super League clubs, including the Bulls, are to face disciplinary action in relation to the 2006 salary cap. The Bulls chairman Peter Hood has said, since March 2006, the Bradford Bulls has kept the RFL in the picture as regards its salary cap position, and has at all times cooperated fully with the Compliance Commissioner's investigation. Insofar as the detail of any alleged breach is concerned, Bradford Bulls reserves its position for the appropriate tribunal, and in the meantime will be making no further public statement. So now it's up to the clubs to go there and defend themselves.
It's unfortunate that points and league positions are going to be defended on something that's happened away from the pitch. It's something that, you know, we don't want to see every year in, year out. There was issues with it last year. You know, you would hope that with last year you would nip it in the bud, but again it's come to rear its head again.
It has.
We've
already mentioned the fact that next year it goes live, and the Rugby League will be able to take action immediately, not 12 months down the line. Is that the best way forward, knowing what happens down under?
I think it's definitely, it is a step in the right direction. If it's out there and it's there to see, then no one can hide anything, can they? I mean, just reiterating what Barry was saying, the thing that gets me the most, and I said it when we first started the statement, was it's the players that get punished the most. You know, you look at a player, Michael Widnes, for example, who's played for Wigan. He's lost his career this year because of the dedication that he gave to the sport itself. And, you know, these players are going out there week in, week out. They're putting their bodies on the line. Some of them are blowing their knees out, blowing shoulders out, and wrecking themselves. And they've worked so hard to get so far in the season, and yet, you know, cause of diplomacy or whatever it is, they've had to go back a step and have to work even harder to try and make the top 6 and so forth. You know, I think it's them that get punished the most.
Final email on this subject for tonight. Until the Rugby Football League, this is from Steve Jones, sets an example to those teams breaking the salary cap by having a minimum points deduction of, let's say, 8 points to start with, and then it rises by 2 more points every time they break the salary cap each year, then the rich clubs will take a risk. So year one it's 8 points, year 2 it would be 10, and so on. Robbie Paul is right, he says, a fine to a rich club is nothing. It has to be a massive points deduction. Well, that will run over the next week or 10 days, as I say, but and it will be bound to be the major talking point over this coming weekend at all the grounds of the Engage Super League. But let's now move on to the on-field action, and it was an emotional weekend in the Super League. Leslie Vainicolo bid farewell to the code, and that was with the Bulls, and that great win over the Leeds Rhinos, of course, he was involved in that. Saints were unstoppable, and Wakefield grabbed the Sunday headlines as they hammered Wigan. All the highlights now from round 18.
Twice this season, Bradford had squandered last-minute leads against Leeds, but this time the Bulls made no mistake at Headingley on Leslie Vainicolo's Super League swan song. The volcano erupted early on for his 149th try for Bradford, and his teammates added 5 further touchdowns as they comprehensively won the derby to leapfrog the Rhinos in the table. Leeds were bitterly disappointing as their 3-game winning run ground to a halt emphatically. Bradford and Leeds are both 2 points adrift of pace setter St Helens, who won for the 9th straight game. Daniel Anderson had said pre-match that the week off had done his team good, and he was right, and how. Saints scored 5 tries in either half, with 2 apiece for Willie Tallow and Steve Tara, who finished with a personal haul of 22 points. Huddersfield were blown away. They haven't won in 5 matches and slip out of the 6. Harlequins have their injury problems, but it didn't stop them seeing off Hull KR at the Stoop. Rovers were losing for the 4th straight Super League match and remained just a point off the bottom. There was only a couple of points in it though with an hour gone, as Quins nailed it down late on with 2 touchdowns in the final quarter. They're now 5th in the table and look a good bet to make the playoffs. A Saturday night thriller at the Stade Gilbert Brutus as the Catalans edged out Warrington despite a man-of-the-match display from Lee Briers, who scored 18 points and still finished up on the losing side. The Dragons did just about enough to win, scoring 5 tries to 3, but the Wolves would have won if Chris Riley hadn't dropped the ball over the try line with 2 minutes left, following another brilliant Briers break. With Hull's match against Salford postponed, Wakefield and Wigan had centre stage on Sunday, and the Wildcats really strutted their stuff at Bellevue, taking the Warriors to the cleaners after going behind early on. Ben Jeffries notched twice, but the highlight was a barnstorming burst late on from prop Richard Moore, who went 70 metres to score. Wakefield goes 6th, but Wigan simply can't string 2 performances together. Their results sequence currently reads: lost 1, lost 1, lost.
Well, let's have a look at the league table then. There's a 3-club breakaway at the top. St Helens clear leaders by 2 points. Then it's Bradford and Leeds, with the Bulls just ahead of the Rhinos on points difference. There's then an 8-point gap to Wigan, who've been joined on 18 points by Harlequins. Wakefield, courtesy of that great win against Wigan, are in the top 6 again. Huddersfield 2 points adrift in 7th. The Catalan Dragons next, just ahead of Hull on points for and against. Warrington at 10th, with Hull KR and Salford at the foot of the table, but with a game in hand now for Salford after the postponement of their game at Hull on Sunday. Another big weekend looms large then. 3 massive matches Friday. Salford face Wakefield at the Willows. St Helens meet Leeds in our live game, and the Wigan Warriors entertain Bradford, all those kicking off at 8 o'clock on Saturday. It's Harlequins against Catalan Dragons at 6, and on Sunday the Hull derby has a lunchtime kick-off at Craven Park, and Huddersfield Warrington at 3 completes the programme. And the Huddersfield Giants have today received a timely boost ahead of that match against Warrington, with the news that Martin Aspinwall has signed a new contract with the club. He has penned a 3-year extension to his contract. He will be there until 2010. Good news for Huddersfield, Robbie, and dare I say it, within the salary cap?
Well, we're not on the list, are we? Fantastic news for us. Aspie, since coming across from Wigan, he's been a massive plus. He's worked really hard, and he got himself in the Great Britain tour last year. The guy is a freak of nature. There's a few people that come along and we just say he's got Mongo strength. You know, he's got an inner strength that is absolutely amazing, and it comes from nowhere. But he's a very disciplined athlete as well. And you just watch the food that he puts into his body. He really does look after himself. So it's a massive boost for us.
Yes, good on him. What about the match on Sunday? It's a big game for you. It's a massive game for Warrington.
Yeah, it is. It is a big game for us because we've gone 5 games now without gaining any success, without getting a win.
It's been feast or famine for you this year, hasn't it?
It has been. You know, even though the start of the season, we looked at it, it wasn't too bad because we were only coming away with a couple of close losses, so we were kind of getting there. And then we went on a great run that everyone knows about. And then we've come up, but the reality is for us, we looked at it, you know, our last 3 losses have been against the top 3 teams. So if we can take anything away from it, we know that, you know, it's probably not as, I say it, as tough a schedule over the next sort of 6 weeks. So we've got to focus in and take it one game at a time. It's important for us and our fans that we get back to winning ways. So we've focused very hard this week. Training's been fantastic, and the boys have really knuckled in because, to be honest, on Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening, we were embarrassed because we had a great defensive structure and points up until that point, you know, to that game, and to have in the Super League a team put 50 points on us, even though it's Saints and we know how good they can be, it's still very embarrassing.
It was embarrassing for Huddersfield. 54-4, they were beaten by St Helens. The previous night, Leeds were taken to the cleaners by the Bradford Bulls. I suppose if you were Tony Smith, you would probably look at it as a plus that you're going to the home of the champions, because, you know, this is a game that Leeds can get up for and prove 1 or 2 doubters wrong.
Again, you won't need motivation for this week. I think some of the Leeds players will be embarrassed. It was a competition right up until I think 5 or 10 minutes past half time, and then Bradford Bulls just pulled away, and they're a very, very good side. They were more eager, more enthusiastic, but one thing you've got in the Leeds dressing room is character. Matt Diskin showed up well, and Kevin Sinfield, lots of players didn't give in, and as a coach that's what you want from your players. You can handle losing the match, but you don't want to be beaten, and that's what the players will have to work on this week.
And what about St Helens? I mean, hail, rain, snow, sleet, sunshine, wind. They score tries for fun. They're a magnificent team.
They're just white hot, aren't they? And the skill level and the confidence that they play with is tremendous.
Well, we have been wondering, of course, all year who will be taking over from Tony Smith come the end of the season for the Leeds Rhinos. And Steve-O had some information from New Zealand a week or two ago that it would be Brian McLennan, the coach of the New Zealand national team. And I understand that Brian McLennan is going to be named as the Leeds Rhinos coach imminently. There he is. He has never coached a club before, but he has galvanised this New Zealand team over the past few years to be a real force. And of course, just a couple of years ago, with a try from Brent Webb and one or two others, they actually lifted the Tri-Nations trophy against Australia. Brian McLennan for Super League. It was tipped a while ago, and it looks like it's going to be confirmed within the next few days. Robbie, you know him probably better than most for your time with the Kiwis. Will he be good for Super League, this fella?
Oh, definitely. You know, the one thing about Brian McLennan, and it's very similar with Frank Endicott, was that he knows how to get a bunch of players to play well together. You know, he creates a family within his own dressing room. And if you can have... We're not just talking about an average team here. We're talking about, you know, the Leeds Rhinos who are, internationally classed right across the board. If you can have a bunch of those blokes that really want to play hard for one another, you give them a solid and really sound game plan, they're going to be a very tough team to play against.
Absolutely. Brian McLennan for the Leeds Rhinos, we believe. Barry, you're in the Leeds camp. Is there anything going round Headingley about this?
Well, obviously, with a club like Leeds Rhinos, there's always going to be speculation, and you've got international class. And, you know, you talked about Brian McLennan and his qualifications. Brian McLennan took the New Zealand side, and he did what no coach for the last 27 years has done, and he beat Australia in a competition, but nothing's been said yet, Eddie, and maybe you're probably making an educated guess, but there's been lots of coaches linked, and the one thing I do know that Gary Etherington was given the task, and Gary Etherington alone, and he's very personal on things like that, and there's only him that will know the answer.
Well, we shall see. We brought you the news last week that Wigan fullback Michael Withers had announced his retirement from the game because of a serious knee injury. The only man yet to score a hat-trick in the grand final has now had an operation on that troublesome knee, and Angela Powers went to see how he's recovering and reflect on a great career.
As battle scars go, these on Michael Withers' knee look pretty inoffensive, but they are the only outward sign of an injury so severe it's forced him to retire.
It shows the damage, yeah. This one's where they start to clean it all up.
The Wigan fullback was due to return to action last week, but instead of pulling on his boots, he ended up having knee surgery. The damage was done back in April against Leeds. Although he got through the game, his knee swelled up that evening, and the road to recovery has been long and arduous.
I knew the week of the Wakefield game last week, at the start of the week, it was D-Day, you know what I mean? If I could run, I'd play. If I couldn't run, we knew it was coming.
It's a low-key end to a glittering career that has spanned almost a decade and seen him lift every major club trophy the game has to offer.
I came across with Nick Zisti. He was the big signing, and I pretty much just slid in under the radar, and the people at the club at that time were, fantastic. And Jimmy Lowe's, Brian McDermott took me in and looked after me. And then, so I come with a suitcase, and now I'm going home with a house full of stuff and a young son and a wife. So I've done well for myself here.
As the Bradford Bulls dominated, he was their safe pair of hands at the back, winning 2 Challenge Cup medals, 3 World Club Championship titles and 3 Super League championships. It was in 2001, though, that he made history, becoming the first player to score a hat-trick in a grand final, winning the Harry Sunderland Trophy for his efforts.
As I said, I was a bit dirty. I didn't get more that game because I had 3 by half time, and it's nice to take something, a little bit of a record home with me. And so it will get beaten, but something to look back on.
The highs are plentiful, including his time with the Ireland international squad, The lows, very few, like being judged to have knocked on in the 1999 Grand Final, which the Bulls eventually lost.
Oh, it's a big call for the video referee.
No try!
An eventful career then for one of the game's most laid-back heroes, a laconic Aussie who made an indelible mark on British Super League.
Home beckons. So I've been here 9 years now. I was only coming for 2 when I first came over. So I've enjoyed my time here. But obviously, I've got family back home and I've got to spend some time with them.
The end of a great retirement, and we wish Michael Withers well for the years that lie ahead. Well, so far on Boots and All, we've visited Shropshire and Fife in our Off the Beaten Track series, in which Dave Hadfield takes a look at places you don't normally associate with rugby league. This week, Dave has gone to the end of the M69 corridor, where the game has a surprisingly long history.
Coventry is near as damn it the centre of England, the navel of the nation, you might say. It's famous for its cathedral, reduced to a ruin when the city was the most heavily bombed place in Britain in World War II. Coventry is also known for the motor industry and for aristocratic young ladies riding naked through the streets. It has also left its mark on the language. To be sent to Coventry originally meant to be sent to this church, the 14th century St John the Baptist. During the Civil War it was used as a prison for royalists captured in battle. The local population was staunchly parliamentarian and they shunned and ignored them, hence sent to Coventry. Shunned and ignored sums up the attitude towards Coventry's professional rugby league team when they played in the Butts area of the city between 1910 and 1913. It's now home to the local union team. This is where that assault was launched, the Butts ground in Coventry. New club playing under Northern Union rules replaced the local rugby union club here. It wasn't a great success. In 3 seasons they won just 12 games. And the short history included a 102-0 defeat at Leeds, which is still a league record. Almost 100 years on, Coventry's rugby league team were represented back at Headingley, where they picked up a brace of awards for the club's work in developing the game. And as the Bears gathered at the ground they share with Old Coventrians Rugby Club, well, it was Rugby League Central with another presentation to make. Gentlemen, ladies, this was a presentation that was supposed to happen at Headingley last night, but it wasn't quite ready, so we're going to do it here today. It's the nearest thing to official Rugby League representation you're going to see. This is for Ron Banks, who you all know has been a long-running servant of Rugby League in Coventry. This is his award for outstanding achievement in the Rugby League Conference. Ron? Yeah. It's on the first team that the club's ambitions ride, and their main sponsor believes that the sky, or indeed the sky blue, is the limit.
There's a growing interest, not just in Coventry, but really, I think what we should be looking at is the Midlands. There's a lot of Leicester supporters out there, massive support, not just Coventry supporters, rugby and the whole of Warwickshire, maybe into Northampton. So I think what we're looking at, if we're going step by step towards a Super League club, is we're looking at a Midlands club, not just a Coventry club. I think that's quite important.
Today's fixture in the Midlands Premier Division is at Birmingham, where player coach Ty Watson makes sure that the last minute preparations are right.
There's a lot of future here in Coventry especially. It doesn't compete with like the Queensland Cup in Australia or Super League, but it certainly is a good development league and we're heading in the right direction.
Have you played under 19s for Australia?
I had one game.
That's one game they can't take away from you.
Exactly right. Now it was a very proud moment. So
a couple of famous teammates in that side as well?
Yeah, Adam Ritson was in there, Matty Geyer. It was a really good time of my life, and that was when I was playing sort of under 19s for Western Reds, so it was a good part of my life.
The Bears won the Rugby League Conference in 2002 and National League 3 in 2004 before falling on hard times. But on the evidence of this performance against their West Midland rivals, they're on their way back. They got off to a flying start when Tim Stevens shredded the Bulldogs' defence to set up a try for Nick Thatcher. The Bears have some talented rugby league players such as stand-off Graham Healy. That was his step to open up the Bulldogs' defence and help create the try for Stuart Lee. Like a good Bulldog, Birmingham took some shaking off in this game, with Andy Alexander hurtling over for a try in his debut. But Coventry were always a little too good, winning 56-28. They maintain their 100% record in the division and their current dominance over their neighbours, who were founded in 1989 in the days of teams such as the wonderfully named Redditch Halcyon.
we actually formed first, and we've seen them actually grow from a very small club that were trying to get friendly fixtures with whoever while we were still in the league, and they've come up and grown, and they've got a lot of support off field. I think that's important.
Do you think there'd ever be room for a Super League team in the West Midlands, sort of representing the whole of the lot?
Definitely, without a doubt. Bring them tomorrow.
Prepared to go to Coventry and watch them, or is that going too far?
Well, I probably would, but it was hard for me to say that.
Yeah. Almost 100 years after that first attempt, there's still a pulse to be found in the heart of England.
And Dave Hadfield will be out and about on the beaten track again during Boots and All this year. We have had a record number of emails tonight, and I think it's purely and simply because of the salary cap issue that has been raised by the Rugby Football League. If you were not with us earlier, remember that Bradford, St Helens and Wigan have all been asked to appear before a disciplinary committee over the next week or 10 days to answer allegations that they have breached the salary cap regulations for 2006. By the way, this time next week we will be at Wigan against Leeds. It's a match in the Engage Super League brought forward to the Thursday. This is the day, of course, that St Helens and Bradford go before the Rugby Football League to answer the charge. And so this time next week we will be able to debate the salary cap implications again, and of course hopefully bring you the first news of the outcome of that first hearing. And Wigan will be in front of the authorities on Monday, the 16th of July. Derek Taylor from Wigan has emailed us. He said he's worried about the salary cap because we will see all the young talent from our country developed and then poached by rugby union because we can't compete with the wages that they can pay them. The Rugby League could, he says, become a feeder system for the RFU, as we've seen with Ashton from Wigan and players from Leeds. He's referring to Chev Walker, I think, and Bradford, the likes of Leslie Vinocola, who's on his way, and Carl Price. That's from Derek Taylor. He says they leave because the clubs can't afford them.
There's definitely something in there, but one of the things that I have confidence with Rugby League is we keep breeding them.
Well, we do.
As soon as one moves on, we seem to just fill the gap with another player just as talented with so much more to offer the sport, and that's exactly what we need to be. Okay, one moves along, we keep them coming, and so I'm not too frightened about rugby union.
Okay, you might be frightened about this because John Lister in Wigan has said, will Robbie Paul say sorry to all the fans after he said on the show tonight that he feels sorry for the players only? Well, Robbie, what about the fans? It's the same old rubbish we hear. The fans have been let down again. Will you air this on the programme tonight? No, because true fans never get their voice heard. As Eddie keeps asking fans to email in, yet I have never had an email read out. It's shocking. John, you've just broken your duck, and I think Robbie's going to apologise.
Sorry. Sorry. Well, I didn't say that was the only people I felt sorry for. Before I got to it, I would have said the fans, obviously, but I'm just saying mainly I feel sorry for the players that go out there week in, week out and going to get punished like that.
The clubs and the game will hope, Barry, that the fans will turn up and support their team through any adversity, I suppose. And we all keep our fingers crossed that the supporters will continue to do that.
And maybe the clubs count on that, don't they? That particular fan is airing his view that he's disappointed that this has happened, but the fans get punished as well as the players. I think Robbie and I know what he was talking about. You look at Mickey Withers there. He's shot his knee and he's having to go home, and that's what players have to do week in, week out. They're playing on anti-inflams and painkillers to get their body out there, to put the bodies on the line for the clubs, and of course we feel sorry for the fans, don't we, mate?
Yes, of course.
And those players put their bodies on the line, and then because of a technicality, albeit
Correct.
an important one, and a very important one,
Yeah.
they have those points that they've...
And they will get that taken away. They've sweated blood and tears,
Yes,
and sometimes broken bones and snapped ligaments and all kinds of stuff just to get it taken away because somebody, has perhaps thought, we won't get caught. Well, obviously they have.
What about the business about Leslie Vinocola maybe coming back for the Challenge Cup semi-final or the Challenge Cup final if Bradford get there? Paula in Liverpool has emailed tonight. She says, surely when a player leaves league to cross over to the other code, that should be end of it. He shouldn't be allowed to come back in the same season just to play a cup game. What are the thoughts of the panel?
My thoughts are, if he does come back, doesn't it make it a little bit more special? It's something different. He's obviously got a clause in his contract to give him that opportunity. But if things are going well at Bradford You know, and Tami Tupu, for example, is fitting in real well, being able to take up the mantle of what Leslie's left behind. Bradford probably won't call upon his services, but if things aren't going so well, then maybe they will. I think it was a very similar thing we were talking about when we had once the Australian competition finished, and then the Australian players come over, you know, Andrew Johns and Adrian Morley, for example, when they joined the back end of the competition. It's a similar thing along those lines. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, I had Adrian Morley playing for my team, so I loved that he was actually playing, so I better keep quiet about that. But from a positive point of view, which is the way I like to look at things, it'll definitely, if he does come back, it'll definitely make the game a little iconic, if you know what I mean.
I'll tell you what it will do as well, Robbie. It will lift the Bradford team. Can imagine getting a popular player and a popular figure like Big Les coming back into the team and back into the training week in preparation for Wembley. I don't suppose Steve McNamara will use him unless he needs him, but he will have him for a morale boost.
Okay, just one final one from Bob Howe, who is a Saints fan in Haltwhistle in Northumberland, and he's having a crack at me, actually, at my pink tie that I wore last Friday. He says, is it his own, or can Sky Sports only afford the one? Do you mind? I followed the example of the man here last Thursday who was wearing pink. You said only
it wasn't
strong
quite
men.
pink, you know. It was
strong men can carry off pink,
and I think that's what that lad's saying. Strong men can pull it off,
exactly.
Not big Jesses.
He has a question for us, though. He says, can you ask the panel why a try is so called, as the team has obviously succeeded and is no longer trying? Do you know why it's been called a try all these years?
No.
We couldn't call it a tried
or a trying. Right. Well, I'll tell you, the most commonly accepted theory is that in the very early days when rugby union developed from football, grounding the ball over the line didn't earn any points, but instead gave the team a chance to try for a goal.
You learn something every day, don't you?
You learn something every day. I wouldn't have had a clue.
Well, I hope that you learn and go home and enjoy. Listen, just let me tell you that you should be making a date to join Steve-O on Thursdays at 2:45 to preview the Super League weekend on Sky Sports News. And remember also that all of that action will be reviewed by Tony Ray on a Sunday night. That's also on Sky Sports News from around about 9:30. Boots and All goes online on a Monday night from 7. And the programme now is also available on Sky anytime. This is the service available to those of you with a recent Sky Plus box or an HD receiver. Get full details on that service from anytime.sky.com. And please don't forget our live games coming up this weekend are the Blockbuster at Nosey Road as St Helens take on Leeds Rhinos on Friday at 7:30, and at 6 on Saturday it's Harlequins against the Catalan Dragons. On both days the games are on Sky Sports 3 and in high definition on HD2. Well, there we go. Just to repeat the news tonight that 3 Super League clubs have to appear before the authorities to explain alleged breaches in the salary cap regulations for last year. The 3 clubs are Bradford, St Helens and Wigan, and if this is a story, I'm sure that will run over the next few days. It really is time to go now and allow them to switch off the lights here at Dewsbury. It was a great contest in the National League. Well done to Widnes. We have those 2 great games coming up for you in the Super League, of course. On behalf of all of us here, particularly Barry and Robbie in the studio, goodbye now, and thanks as always for watching.
More sport, news and views at skysports.com.